Robert Braidwood's Hilly Flanks theory. Robert Braidwood was an important American archaeologist and anthropologist who helped people understand how human beings moved from being hunters and gatherers to living in permanent villages and growing their own food. One of his most well-known ideas is the Hilly Flanks theory. This theory tries to explain how and where farming first began. In simple terms, Braidwood believed that the first real steps toward agriculture and settled life took place in the hilly regions around the modern Middle East, not in flat lands like many others believed at the time. He called these regions the hilly flanks of the Fertile Crescent. To really understand his theory, we need to look at how human beings used to live before farming. Thousands of years ago, people survived by hunting wild animals and gathering fruits, nuts, and other edible plants. They moved from place to place, following the seasons and the availability of food. They had no permanent homes and no farms. Their lives were closely tied to nature, and they relied entirely on what they could find in the wild. This way of life continued for a long time, but eventually, humans began to settle in one place, grow crops, and raise animals. This big change is called the Neolithic Revolution, and it was one of the most important turning points in human history. Many scientists wanted to understand how this major change happened. One popular idea, known as the Oasis theory, was introduced by another archaeologist named V. Gordon Childe. He believed that farming began because of a long drought that forced people, animals, and plants to gather around oases, where they became familiar with each other. Over time, people learned how to plant seeds and domesticate animals. But Braidwood did not agree with this idea. Braidwood offered a different view with his Hilly Flanks theory. He suggested that farming did not begin because of drought or crisis. Instead, it happened in a more natural way in an area that was already rich in plant and animal life. The hilly flanks he talked about are located in the foothills of the Taurus and Zagros Mountains, near places like modern-day Iraq, Iran, Turkey, and Syria. This region was part of the Fertile Crescent, a curved area known for its fertile soil and variety of wild plants and animals. Braidwood said that these hilly areas were perfect for early humans to begin experimenting with farming. Unlike flat deserts, the hilly flanks had the right climate, good rainfall, and many types of wild plants and animals that could be domesticated. For example, wheat, barley, sheep, and goats were all naturally found in this region. People living there had already been gathering these wild plants and hunting animals for a long time. So, they knew a lot about how these plants grew and how these animals behaved. Over time, they may have started planting seeds on purpose and keeping some animals nearby instead of hunting them all the time. This process was slow and took generations, but eventually it led to the beginnings of agriculture. What made Braidwood's theory special was that he used archaeology to back up his ideas. He did not just guess or rely on stories. He actually went out and looked for proof. In the 1940s and 1950s, Braidwood led important excavations in places like Jarmo, a small site in the hilly flanks of Iraq. There, his team found ancient tools, seeds, animal bones, and pieces of early homes. These discoveries showed that people had been living in one place, growing crops, and raising animals much earlier than scientists had thought. These findings supported his theory that farming began in the hilly flanks and not in the flat, dry desert areas. Braidwood also believed that farming started not because people were desperate, but because they were ready. He thought humans already had enough knowledge, tools, and social organization to take this big step. In other words, he said that people developed farming because they could, not because they had no choice. This idea showed respect for the intelligence and creativity of early humans. It also helped shift the focus from dramatic events, like droughts, to a more peaceful and gradual change in the way humans lived. His theory had a big impact on how scientists think about the beginning of farming. It helped them see that agriculture did not start everywhere at the same time or for the same reasons. In some places, it may have been because of climate change, while in others, it was because of opportunities provided by the natural environment. The hilly flanks theory also helped archaeologists understand the importance of small steps and slow changes. Farming was not invented overnight. It was the result of many small experiments and discoveries made over hundreds or even thousands of years. Another important point in Braidwood's theory is that he saw the beginning of farming as a cultural development, not just a survival strategy. This means that early humans were curious, thoughtful, and willing to try new things. They were not just reacting to hard times, but also shaping their world in new ways. As they started farming, their lives changed in many ways. They built more permanent homes, made new tools, created pottery, and began to live in larger communities. Their relationships with each other and with nature also changed. These changes laid the foundation for modern civilization. Braidwood's work reminds us that progress does not always come from crisis. Sometimes it comes from learning, adapting, and building on what we already know. It also shows us the power of observation, patience, and teamwork. Early farmers probably did not know they were changing history, but by trying new ways of living, they opened the door to everything that followed: towns, cities, governments, writing, and much more. In our modern world, it is easy to forget how important these early changes were. We go to the store and buy food without thinking about where it comes from. But farming made all of that possible. Without it, we would still be moving from place to place, looking for our next meal. Robert Braidwood's hilly flanks theory helps us understand how that amazing journey began. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating part of human history and want more content explained in simple and clear language, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot and helps us continue sharing knowledge that is easy to understand and enjoyable to learn. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.